Welcome to Business Financing Insights from Celtic Capital. Taking your business to the next level is always top of mind for business owners. In today's segment, Celtic Capital's President and CEO, Mark Hafner, is joined by the company's Chief Credit Officer, Alex Fallow, to provide ideas to help owners move their businesses forward.
What do we consider key drivers of a business?
Well, I think every business has their own key drivers. I mean, obviously revenue is always one, but it's usually one that is less controllable. You can't always say, oh, I'm going to do X million dollars this year. So you have to look at what are the key drivers to profitability in your business. Operational efficiencies, if it's a manufacturing company, how the work flows through the plant, how many people you have, is there duplication of processes, that type of thing. One of the big ones in a lot of manufacturing companies is inventory management and control, because it's oftentimes one of the largest, if not the largest asset, and it's the least managed, least controlled. And so people will have old inventory sitting on the shelf, and they don't understand the cost that is having to them. So the better performing their inventory turns, the more operational efficiencies the company has, those are some potential key drivers. Every business is different, and so nobody knows the business better than the business owner or the senior management, and they can look at the key drivers and see where can I improve my business while, of course, they're trying to build their revenue.
I agree. I think one of the biggest drivers for a business are margins, because you can't always control revenues, you can't always control fixed cost, but you can control your margins, and you control your margins through primarily inventory management. Improper inventory management really carries a very high cost, and it's cash sitting on a shelf. It's cash that's not able to grow your company or to pay down trade payables.
True, and oftentimes people carry a lot of inventory and then they want to borrow on it, which means their interest costs go up, when truthfully, if they were managing their inventory and turning their inventory the way they should be, they may not have a need to borrow on it at all, or certainly a much smaller amount. So it feeds into, these key drivers feed into how their financing is structured and ultimately how successful the business can be.
And I think we've found from our experience that improper inventory management leads into operational deficiencies. And operational deficiencies is really a distraction to the company. It's a distraction to the CEO from growing sales, and it basically opens the company up to poor management of their liquid assets, such as receivables and inventory. That in and of itself has a negative effect on cash and eventually profits.
A lot of small businesses suffer from this because the entrepreneur that starts the business is not the finance guy typically. It's somebody that is a strong salesperson or a production person, and so they have a strong expertise in one segment of the business. And the businesses that are really successful hire strong people in their weak areas. And so if you're the strong salesperson, you want a strong person that can run the operations or the manufacturing floor to achieve those objectives.
And we've experienced also companies coming to us with requests for loan structures that are outside of their business model. What do you see when a client comes to you?
Well, they typically are short of cash and want to borrow on everything to increase their borrowing, not recognizing that that may not be what's best for the business. And so you have to some extent, educate them on why what they're asking for isn't always in their own best interest. Oftentimes, as I said, they're just focused on where can I get the most money for the cheapest price, and it's not always the most productive for their business in the long term.
And also, when you're setting up a loan structure, it's got to align with the business model. Sometimes you have clients who just look at one asset class instead of looking at the various asset classes that we can lend against, and I think we can lend them a hand in trying to figure that out.
Yeah, absolutely. So the businesses will have current assets and long-term assets, and you will want to align the financing appropriately. So current assets, you'll structure more of a revolving type of a line against accounts receivable inventory, whereas long-term assets, which are more equipment or maybe real estate, get a different structure of financing, and so the financing structure should mirror the asset class.
Thank you for listening today. If you'd like to talk to Mark Hafner about your specific business financing issue or about making referrals to Celtic Capital, sign up for a quick one-on-one chat with him at www.celticcapital.com. And if you haven't already done so, subscribe to our podcast channel to hear more business financing insights from Celtic Capital.